First, I would like to mention that I will be posting the mini articles that I gathered my information from in the description. To start, let us briefly talk about how the Spanish government works. Okay, so currently Spain is officially called a parliamentary monarchy, which has a monarch as head of state and prime minister as head of the government. The executive power comes from the government of the Council of Ministers, or also called the Cabinet, which includes the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers, and other ministers. The legislative power rests with the Senate and the Congress of Deputies. Ever since the 1990s, there have been two dominant parties, similar to Democrats and Republicans in the United States. These are the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, the PSOE, and the People's Party, PP. The judiciary branch is separate from these two and is run by judges and magistrates. The Supreme Court of Spain is the highest court in Spain, which is superior in all affairs. However, it does not rule in matters of the Constitution, which is instead moderated by the Constitutional Court. Okay, so as stated in the previous video, which I will link in the description, Spain has 17 autonomous communities, one of which is Catalonia, which we are discussing, which have their own government, but they are still accountable to the central government as described before. Okay, so now that we know more about the Spanish government, let us continue with the topic of Catalonia, then the focus of this video. Okay, so the morning of the 16th of October 2017, which is the date that this video is coming out, Carles Puigdemont, the president of Catalonia, sent a letter to Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy asking for dialogue between Catalonia and the central government to discuss Catalonia and its independence, along with a request to stop the violence in Catalonia. This was in response to Spanish Interior Minister Juan Ignacio Zoido telling Catalonia that they had to respond with a yes or no about their declaration of independence with no ambiguity whatsoever. The question was clear, but the answer is not, Rafael Catala, Spain's justice minister, said. Now, Soraya Sáenz de Santa Maria, apologies there, Spain's deputy prime minister, has now given Catalonia until Thursday to obey the Spanish law. The Spanish Constitutional Court has also said that this declaration of independence, per se, is illegal, while also mentioning how less than half, 43%, of the Catalonians voted, although the majority, 90% of them, wanted independence. Puigdemont, at the end of the letter he sent, said, and I quote here, "With goodwill, recognizing the problem and looking each other in the face, I am sure we can find a path to the solution." However, Spain has ruled out talks unless Catalonia agrees to not secede. Spain is now coming closer and closer to invoking Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, and I will read that to you in full. So here is Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, and I'm quoting here. If an autonomous community, Spanish region, were not to fulfill the duties imposed upon it under the Constitution or other laws, or were to act in a manner that gravely attacked the general interest of Spain, the government, having first notified the first minister of the autonomous community, and if no reply were received, with an absolute majority in the Senate, may adopt the measures necessary to oblige that region to forcibly comply with said duties or to protect the aforementioned general interest. And then the second part reads, to execute the measures foreseen in the previous section, the government may give instructions to all of the authorities in the autonomous communities. Okay, and that is page 44 in the link provided that I will mention specifically, which is the Spanish Constitution up until 2011, yes. Okay, so what exactly does this mean? Well, there are a few steps that the government must go through to invoke this law. So number one, the Spanish government must notify Puigdemont and check to see if he's actually doing independence. Okay, this has been done. The next step is Puigdemont has to reject the notification, and because he has been ambiguous, Spain counts this as a no and therefore a rejection. Number three, now the government presents this to the Senate with proof of the problem. And now this is where they'd have to start doing that at number 3 if they're going to continue with this. Number 4, this gets sent to a part of the Senate called the General Commission of Autonomous Communities. And then now they ask Puigdemont for his side of the story and why Catalonia should be able to separate. Next, now the commission looks at both sides and comes up with a solution that the Senate will vote on. A solution, recommendation, something like that, And then the Senate will vote on this and recommendation/solution, and the article will or will not be put into effect. So if it passes, Spain will have direct rule over Catalonia, and they will then be able to attempt to jail the separatists, most notably Puigdemont, the president of Catalonia. The protests will then be shut down, and who knows what will happen to the people of Catalonia, its leaders, and the community as a whole. So here's the tricky part. Spain's People's Party, which is a conservative party, holds a comfortable majority in both the General Commission of Autonomous Communities and the Senate as a whole, which means they can block Catalonia's right to independence quite easily. And they can carry out Article 155. So the vote's not guaranteed, and Spain has not yet said they are carrying out 155, but if they choose to, it could very well pass. So as said, Catalonia has until Thursday to make a final decision, which is their last chance. There is no telling what will happen at that point if Puigdemont does not come up with a solid yes or no answer. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you now understand more about what is going on in Spain right now. Thank you very much.